But there we go. Okay. Oof. What is happening, everybody? It's your boy Raven, and there we go. Okay. All right. Oof. What is happening, everybody? Okay, there we go. I just had YouTube feeding it back to my ears here. Oh, wow. Let me just make sure I get everything sorted so we can go ahead and kick this thing off the right way. Oh boy, what what a past 2 weeks. That has been wild. So let's see. We're gonna make this a live stream Saturday. How's that? Okay, so go back up here. Hashtag live stream Saturday. We are live. Really didn't get a lot to do for this. All right, here we go. We're going to just go ahead and... The Raven is coming. The Raven is coming. Okay. Let's get everyone in. And what do we got here? We got some... Here we go. I know everything with this thing is growing pains right now. I didn't prepare this ahead of time. And I'm playing a lot of it by ear, so... hopefully this records. I don't know. StreamYard says my trial is up, so I don't know if it'll actually record anything. So let me just get that out there. All right. Here we are. All right, back to the stream. Here we are. Chatting with people in the studio as well. All right. Let me tell you how woefully unprepared I am if you're watching. I don't have tea yet. I know you're supposed to have tea with me, but I don't actually have it just yet. But feel free to drop a line right there in the chat. We can go ahead and kick this bad boy off, I think. Yeah. There we go. Starting a live stream. All right. Okay. Got it. Okay, there we go. Okay. So some of you will know my beard is actually a mess right now. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be nice and quiet today. I don't have anybody coming in. I don't have to warn anybody who might be like fixing a stopped up drain or something like that. Hey, be quiet. I'm doing a video. I have to work around you. I don't know why I had this as an example of a banner. It was just sitting there. Might have clicked the wrong thing. So I know that this webcam is not exactly ideal, and believe me, it was kind of one of the best ones I could afford, if that makes any sense. Not exactly a prime piece of equipment, but it'll work. It'll do the job. Initially, what I was going to do was I was actually going to be over this couch that you see behind me. That's where I do my readings, kind of at the opposite end of it. So a little more that way, toward that end. That's where I do my readings. And I was going to do it right there at the coffee table, but I didn't get set up in time. It was because unexpected thing happened. My phone started going a little weird, and ended up getting a new one. So spent last night setting that up. I'm not done with it. It's a little crazy how involved that is now. Yeah, I'm gonna step away for just a minute. I just need a couple tea bags in the cup, and then I'll pour and steep, and yeah, Bubba. Like I said, I hope you brought yours today. And if you're watching, throw some mention in the chat, and I'll say hello. I shout out everybody. I can still see this thing, so. And so far, it doesn't look like anyone. Doesn't look like anyone who said they would panel this discussion is here. So I do have 6 spots open. Actually, I think it's like 6 altogether. It's me and like 5 other people, which we can do. And I can pull you in. Oh, hell. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, you don't see any tea yet because I'm just now brewing my first cup there, so I'm gonna give that a few minutes. Let those tea bags sit in there. And my desk is an absolute disaster right now. Oh boy, here we are, Saturday morning. Yes, you could still have your tea. I'll just be having mine very, very shortly. What's WM3? Oh, that's a good question. If you go to wm3.org, which I'm going to post in the chat right now, it's a little sooner than I would have liked to have gotten to this. As a matter of fact, I ought to post this in the tribal chat here. We're gonna do some. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna do that now. There we go. Well, why don't you get to have tea? Everybody should have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, something like that. Would be a good thing to have. Just something to wake you up, you know. A little refreshment in the morning. Never hurt anybody. Surely isn't going to start now. The reason I kind of need it is I am not a morning person. I really am still at heart a night owl. I found that out last night. Went for my goal of 10K steps and crushed the shit out of that too. Came home with a small thing of ice cream. I haven't had ice cream in a while. And yeah, by the time I got done having that, I realized it was like, I don't know, between that and watching some videos on YouTube, it was like 4:30 in the morning. Believe it or not, Hellset, this is an old case. I'm talking old. We're talking like, I think the documentary came out in like 94, 95, and it was called Paradise Lost, The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills. I was going to talk about the Satanic Panic and then move into that, but I think it's a good jumping off point. This wasn't... I don't want to blame like one group or another. It was really a confluence of events. There was a hell of a lot going on, and okay. Quixotically crazy. I've never heard it referred to as that before, but yeah, I get it. I've seen that kind of crazy. It happened this week. This week, before I even get into that, this week was oh, how long will I be on? There we go. Looks like I'll be on for at least a couple of hours. There we go. Okay, so it's really a confluence of events. As a matter of fact, Damien Eccles, the guy who ended up getting sentenced to death, which that happened. got sentenced to death at 18 years old. That is and his Jesse Miskelly Jr. and Jason Baldwin both got life. Miskelly actually, I think he got life. Was it him who got life plus 40 or something like that? It was some crazy, like completely insane type of thing that they went through. Glare is killing. I mean, glare from my glasses is just absolutely nuts. Anyway, so yeah, here's what the Damian Eccles. Let's go back to him. If you're watching Stranger Things this season, Eddie Munson is kind of loosely modeled on him. And let me tell you, I went into the documentaries thinking, oh yeah, these three are guilty. I gotta hear the story. What happened? And I walked away going, what the fuck did I just watch? Because it like I said, this wasn't really to blame on one person or another. What you had factually were 3 8-year-olds that went missing one night, and then when they're found, they were found dead. For anyone, like watching that documentary, they do show you the bodies of those 3 boys. And we're talking like as they found them. Something like that, that's insanely horrific. That is, it's nothing you want to see. What's worse is they were tied up with their own, let's see. Yeah, it does. But, yeah, those 3 boys were murdered, obviously. And I can't say I blame the parents or the town, but they wanted the killers found. They wanted them found quickly. West Memphis, Arkansas, it's kind of an extension of Memphis, Tennessee that just kind of moves into Arkansas. It just happens to fall over the border. And that's kind of a small town mentality. Anytime you have something like that, it's not going to really go all that well. And I'm sorry, guys. Light is killing my eyes right now. And don't worry about the light sensitivity. That's just a thing with me. That's better. Okay. So anyway, I can't really blame anyone for wanting the killers to be found. A killer or killers. We'll say that. Because, in my opinion, unless it was someone they absolutely trusted until it was just too late. Yeah, I think maybe a single killer, but I kind of think highly likely more than one. And these 3 guys, they were singled out. There was a very big rush to judgment, which, especially in a capital murder case, which is what this was. No rush. Get the evidence. And there was very little evidence against them, and all of it was circumstantial, very circumstantial. But rumors have been circulating around about Damien for many moons. And unfortunately, he was kind of a troubled kid who didn't have a lot going for him. So, yeah, they were all 3 of the victims were 8 years old, and there were 3 of them. All 3 best friends, all 3 literally kids on bikes, just headed out for a day. One of them was in the Cub Scouts. Another one got, I guess, one of them had kind of gotten into trouble a little bit. Nothing serious. Something most likely we'd all get in trouble for. And, they took off on their bikes and were never seen again until their bodies were found. It's it's horrible. I don't wish this on anyone, not especially parents. There's actually footage of Pam Hobbs, I believe her name was, her last name. I remember her first name. She literally just completely like lost it right there. Like she was kind of at the scene. She wasn't in it, but police were keeping her back. And when they broke the news to her, she was just completely devastated. And yeah, no shit. That's um so three suspects, three held guilty. Yep, that's about the size of it. That's pretty much it. The most troubling thing about the case, though, was Jesse Miskelly Jr. was probably like his dad was an auto mechanic. Um, Family kind of lived in a trailer. That was true of a lot of all three of these guys, living in trailer parks and that sort of thing. Um, but anyway, this is, you know what? Yeah, hell, you're right. Many layers of weird. Just strange, very strange. But I'll get into that in just a moment. The really weird thing about this case is uh, Jesse asked his father if he could talk to the police because he was going to he had I think he might have met Damien like a couple of times, and he was going to go talk to the police because there was a reward being offered for information leading to the conviction of suspects here, and he wanted to get that reward money to give to his dad for a pickup truck, and that's why he went and talked to the police for 12 hours. There was a baseball bat in the room, and there are missing sections of recordings, right? Missing sections of recordings. Big chunks of what was said in that room gone. Holy shit, right? That's insane. So now he's charged. Based on the information he gave up, Jason Baldwin and Damian Eccles were also arrested. And, you know, uh, Miss Kelly was tried separately from Baldwin and Eccles. When you get to the confession part, and here's the thing, there's a site, I don't know if it's still around, but I will recommend it right now. Callahan8k.com, I believe, was the name of it. And on Callahan is every piece. These are people that they uploaded to the site. So they, on their vacations, like the one I'm on now, woohoo, they would go to the West Memphis Police Department. They would get the documentation as much as they could, scan it, and upload it to the site. So it's public. You can see everything. Unlike many cases, and I say this because I want people to remember this, okay? When, like in the Rittenhouse trial, no matter what I think of it, no matter what you think of it, neither of us, not one of us, has all the information that the jury had. It's true. It doesn't matter what you see on the TV. Eric, welcome aboard. Happy birthday again. I know that's late as hell, but guess what? I know you're about a weekend. You're about a week into the whole new age now. Nice, very nice. Okay, welcome aboard, Eric. So here's they uploaded all of this information. So now you have what the juries had, and there were two juries in that in that case. It's so weird to me that based on the strength of the prosecution's case, which was terrible, it was absolutely horrid, and there were even moments in the documentary where you see, and this is one I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler because it's so good. You see I think it's Val Price. Was it? No, it wasn't Val Price. It was one of the prosecutor teams. One of the prosecutors asks one of the West Memphis PD detectives um, about some evidence, and is Detective Brian Ridge, and he says, "Oh, that was lost." And suddenly, there's this deer caught in headlights. Look like, wait, what? And he's on the stand going, "Yes, sir, I lost that evidence." And I don't remember exactly what it was. I know it was kind of important, and I'm like, oh my goodness, why? Oh, why? Why would you not interview this guy beforehand? Why would you not get a statement from him about that piece of, And then, oh, it was so it was terrible. Oh, Eric, 43. Oh, we're about the same age. Not too. I'm just a little bit older than you, just a little. I'll be 44 this year, and still living like I'm 21 in a lot of cases. It's a great, great life, isn't it? Gotta love it. As weird as it gets, it really is a great life. But anyway, this particular case comes at the end, or at the sort of end of the Satanic Panic. It was starting to kind of wind down, to be honest with you. What's this? Do years counted in hell count the same, or are they like dog years? I wouldn't know. To me, hell is a Christian concept, and I leave that to them. I would absolutely let a Christian answer that before I answer that myself. As a matter of fact, as a side note, I do remember the story, and I remember it because I saw it happen. I'm sure many of you remember. I don't know what the Catholic channel is called, but I do know it was a popular thing among Catholics at one point. I decided I was channel surfing one night, and I'll never forget this. Mother Angelica was on. I loved watching her. Whether I was Catholic or not, I loved watching her. And this is what sparked that love. She is sitting there. She is talking. She is, taking callers. And just as I'm about to change the channel, somebody called in trying to heckle her. And they were saying, how dare your priest talk about heaven? Have they ever been there? Do they know what it's like? And she just very calmly sat there and listened to every question. She goes, well, I don't think any of my priests have been there and come back to talk about it. But what we know is in the Bible. Let's talk about something else. Your ministers talk a lot about hell. Have they ever been to hell? And of course the caller's like, well, no, obviously not. That's ridiculous. And she goes, well, then how dare they talk about a place they've never been? Next caller. Thank you so much. Oh, and I watched her just to watch like who would heckle her. I really wanted to see that. I wanted to know because she was absolutely amazing at just calmly wrecking you. And I thought about doing it just to have the honor of her, like maybe wreck me once, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna waste her time or mine. It's kind of a dumb thing. But let's see. You could go on and on about hell as a state of mind and unpack all the baggage from that, but then wouldn't learn about crazy U.S. legal flaws. Very true. Very true. That's that is a thing. That is a thing that occurs. Let's see. What else we got? Did you watch her face while she was doing that? Yes. Yes, I did. And she really did. She wasn't very, let's put it this way. She was not exactly expressive, but it was a beautiful thing to watch. But I recommend that you go to wm3.org. As a matter of fact, I've got that, posted that link up here. It's going to look a little something like this. I highly recommend everyone go check that out because to be honest, after like I said, when I went into this, I was like, yeah, okay, let's hear what sick shit these three did, right? And the more I kind of got into it, I was like, okay, no, Jesse Miskelly, I don't think he actually did it. I really don't. Let's Jason seems a little questionable here. I mean, it might just be guilt by association, but I don't think he did it either. Damien was the one I really kind of held on to. I was like, seems like a troubled kid. Seems like he acts out quite a bit, and maybe just this time he went too far. And then, of course, later on, in that first documentary, I was like, no, I have doubts. I had doubts. And here's the thing: that first documentary is cut right down the middle. It presents both sides very equally. In my opinion, it is some of the absolute best accidental journalism I have ever seen. And I say accidental because if the two filmmakers who shot that movie had not been there and had not gotten the call, because they were actually local at the time. That's how they caught all that footage. This wasn't like stuff from the police and then mixed with interviews. This was footage they took as it happened. And if you can't get it on DVD, get it on Blu-ray. Check it out. There are 4 documentaries, 4 of them. There's Paradise Lost: The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills. There's Paradise Lost 2: Revelations. There's Paradise Lost 3, and then Peter Jackson. Yep, Lord of the Rings Hobbit trilogy did a documentary called West of Memphis, and that one covers a lot of the stuff. It runs kind of parallel to part 3. So when you're watching these documentaries, watch them in order. You can actually just believe it or not, I got a copy of West of Memphis because of the company I work for. I just kind of saw it in a box of DVDs. I was like, oh, cool, West of Memphis. And I asked my boss, have you seen this? And she says, no. And I handed it to her. I was like, you need to take this home. You need to watch it. You can always bring it back. Just, you really ought to watch this. And she just kind of looked at it. And, I mean, these weren't sealed DVDs. And these were DVDs we were kind of just giving away. And she goes, okay, I'll let you know what I think. We come back to work and she's like, I'm not bringing that disc back. I'm like, oh, is it kind of cool, huh? It kind of interesting. And she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I was close to that area. Now, granted, it probably would have been like a 9-hour drive or something like that. But no, West of Memphis is a documentary. It really is. So, no, it's not drama. It's not fiction. It's exactly what we're talking about right now. And it kind of but if you watch that one first, you're coming in at the tail end of everything. And you really do have to watch Paradise Lost 1, 2, and 3 to get the full effect. And I recommend watching them in order, like do 1, 2, 3. And even though West of Memphis runs concurrent to part 3, I really recommend that you watch them in that order. So definitely check out the Paradise Lost docuseries. It is so good. I actually, because I have all but part 3, all but that one, and I really need to get that one in physical media. That is, let me clarify that in physical media. What we got here? If legal systems need mobs to adequately reflect truth or behave sanely, then how much tolerance should be had for the failing systems built on top of failing systems? Okay, this is one I could talk about. Okay, because here's the thing. The judge doesn't matter. I know. I'm going to say this. In the final outcome of things, the judge really doesn't matter. Neither does the prosecutor. Neither does the defense attorneys. What matters in that courtroom is the jury. It's not the attorney. The attorney's job is not to convince the judge. The attorney's job is to convince a jury. The problem, and this is the biggest failing of our system, the juries are comprised of us. That's not the problem. The problem is our attitude towards serving on a jury. As a matter of fact, not 2, maybe 3 months ago. Yeah, about 3 months ago, I had to serve on a jury. It all took place, believe it or not, I'm going to show you, all took place over this. This is my old phone. I'm using it as a micro tablet solution. So a little bit later today, I'm going to go get an SD card to throw in there just for like photos and blah, blah, blah. This is going to be my little, like, I was able to kind of get it to work after getting the new phone set up. Odd that behavior, right? Oh, well, now that's your workhorse. Okay, I can relax. I'll work again. You know, that kind of thing. All right, great. Fuck off, phones. If it were up to me, we would. If we didn't need them so badly, we'd be back on flip phones. But anyway, getting back to the problem. The problem is our attitude towards serving on a jury. A few months ago, I served. Well, I didn't get picked for one, but I did get screened, and it was over a Zoom call. Before that, I had to actually get up at stupid 30, the ass crack of dawn, get dressed, get my shit together, and believe it or not, that means I have to have shit like this that I carry every day prepared for court, which means, you know, this has got to come off, and that's got to come off. And yeah, we're kind of good after that. So now I got this. I got to carry this. I don't have a pocket knife. I don't have anything. You know, I usually carry some kind of tool, a little multi-tool. But anyway, I would sit in this room and just listen to people bitch constantly about being there. Oh, I'm being paid $5 a day. Blah 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 blah. Oh, shut up. Why is a smarter population needed? In my opinion, I'm still addressing this right here. It's because those juries are comprised of us. And these days, we're not questioning things as we should be. And I think it goes back. Look, collectively, we're pretty fucking stupid. I'm gonna come out and say it. Guys, I love every one of you who tunes in. I love every one of you who checks this channel out. But we have to admit, even when we subscribe to groupthink. We do. Only now it's even more insidious because it's enforced. And when we start subscribing to groupthink and we don't allow people to think for themselves, they march into that courtroom thinking the law was handed down from on high. They don't even think that you're there to also judge that law. That's the problem. And we have judges, people who have been elected by people, just like those who serve on a jury, telling you, you may think you're here to judge the law, and that's not true. Yes, I am. And there's precious fuck all you can do about it, Your Honor. And the whole reason that our court systems are comprised like this, in that courtroom, if you're charged, you must be informed of your charges within 24 hours. You cannot be held on excessive bail. You have the right to an attorney while being questioned. You do not have to answer questions because, as they say, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. That's what they tell you, and it's absolutely true. Hey, Stein, what's going on? The real hero of the COVID era. I don't know how heroic I am. Yeah, we do get a lot dumber. Groupthink, yes, it's a lot easier. It is. It's easy for me to, like, I could say this, like, am I a Trump supporter? This is kind of like a little tangent, but I'll get back to what I was saying. Am I a Trump supporter? He held my cautious optimism for all 4 years. And not going to lie, that's a real plus with me, because no president since I've been able to vote and really watch them has been able to do that. Most of them have run it out within at least the first year or two. And then if they get second terms, I'm like pretty much dead set against them by that time. And it's not over hubris. It's just, well, yeah, it goes back to what I'm talking about right now. Some of the laws they support, some of the things that they're absolutely dog shit in my opinion. But anyway. Here in the States, you don't talk to police because they say anything they say can and will be used against you in a court of law. That means nothing you say can help you. Stop falling for the lies of, oh, well, if you help us, it can help you. Talk to my attorney. Do the whole Neo thing. Well, that's like a really good deal, but I think I got a better one. I'll give you the finger, and you can ask my attorney those questions. Simple. Talking to police, yeah, it's nothing's off the record, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and then once you're in the courtroom, you have the right to face your accuser and have them questioned and cross-examined. The state bears the burden of proof, so the state must absolutely prove that you did what you're charged with, or not. You do not have to prove your innocence. That's one of the things I'm cautioning everyone against. This is one of the things the Satanic Panic ultimately did a lot with the sensationalist, trashy daytime TV talk shows with all the signs and symptoms of devil worship in your child. Long stringy hair, a mullet, or some utterly ridiculous tripe that they were pushing. I'm telling you right now, with the Satanic Panic, you have to remember that, because you need to start watching the parallels between media today and media yesterday. And look what's going on in your courts. That's one of those things, like I said, that's what, the whole, any courtroom thing, immediately, everyone's got their mind made up. They don't have to see a shred of evidence. They'll cherry pick, entire reams, I hate to even say yards of footage, entire SD cards full of footage. They will absolutely cherry pick the shit out of that. And then they will tell you what you see based on what they see. So this is why I say the Satanic Panic, no, it was not justified. Look at them. There was also another one, the McMartin preschool trial. That's another one. I'm old enough to remember that. And I'm old enough to remember when a lot of those convictions started getting overturned, and it was California again, most expensive trial to date. I don't think they've had a more expensive trial since. And that's including some of the most famous ones, the Rodney King thing, O.J. Simpson 1 and 2, that sort of thing. That's Bub really kind of going ham. He's hungry and it's not time yet. So, but it's like I've said before, when it came to the Satanic Panic, I preferred to call it the live action role playing game Pitchforks and Torches. I have written, I know that the Pitchforks and Torches may have kind of died out in that sense, but I have written an expansion for it. I call it Here's Negan. And I love to run that scenario because most of the player characters kind of start on their knees. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said, you want to kick off number 2. I ain't running. I got Brooke here. She ain't wrapped in barbed wire up here, but she's got a nice little paracord handle wrapped down here, and it provides a very, very nice grip. I ain't running. I ain't running. Shoot. I'm still a little bit out of shape. You ain't getting me to run. I got something for you. If you want to kick off part 2, you got that thought in your head. My advice to those who say that it was justified, let it go. I've been ranting and raving and carrying on. Let's see what we got. Let's see. One random PC dies in the first hour of the game. I love this one. That the Luciferian sneer isn't a bug; it's a feature. That's good. I like that one. Devil wields a pitchfork, right? Actually, no, a trident. Can you be Negan for a drone army? Well, I would give him my best shot. Although I have been told I sound more like Billy Bob Thornton than Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't know how true that is, but what the fuck ever. But let's see. Mullets were actually Bronze Age Germanic fashion. You know what? I sported one. I did. I sported one back in high school. Yeah, we already talked about that one. Makes the Georgia Guidestones look good. Oh, Lex, what's going on? Proud America. You know what? I gotta say this. I absolutely love my country. There will never be a moment where you're gonna see me hating on it. There are certain aspects I hate of it. I hate how stupid we've become. I hate how that's become acceptable. And look, I don't even have time to learn it all. I really don't. I'm learning so much right now, but that's the key thing. We mentioned this in one of my readings in the past. A couple of them, as a matter of fact, a couple recent ones, and they came up in the last couple of weeks. Don't get stuck. When that hell card comes up, the goddess herself, don't get stuck. Keep moving. If you're writing something, you run out of ideas, start typing, all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over again. Or the quick brown cat jumped over my lazy ass, or whatever. Just whatever comes to mind, Whatever just happens to pop in there. Let me, come here. Come here, you. Here we go. Big boy. There you go. Oh, he didn't like that. Yeah, well, you're going to have to chill out. This is our morning routine. This is what he does every morning. You want to say hello? We got people right over there. See? Look, right over there. Oh. he's like, he's like, fuck you, I'm going to sleep. Yes, he is. Actually, he's smaller. He's smaller now than. Let's see. Stupidity isn't accepted; it becomes a norm. I happen to disagree slightly. I don't think stupidity. And let me retract my previous statement. Stupidity hasn't become acceptable. It's become encouraged. Seriously encouraged. And I think one state's governor, she just took reading, writing, and arithmetic components as requirements out of the curriculum so that the underprivileged or the disadvantaged wouldn't be so disadvantaged anymore. And I'm like, really? And there are people in this room right now watching this live stream. I guarantee you they can attest that it was pounded into me, you know, because I was a fuck off as a kid. I really wanted to go in the Beavis and Butthead direction. They were like, we're not allowing that. And there was a good reason for it. And so now, of course, like back then, I look at history as names, dates, dead people. Who cares? Now it's like this is the greatest continuous campaign D&D style action movie I could ever hope to have. Nothing compares to real history. And you got people wanting to erase it because they're encouraged today to be like I was then, which was discouraged, disincentivized as well, heavily. Plenty of stuff like that. There he goes. Guys, he is, I don't know if you can hear him. He is going like a little Harley engine. I do this, he revs up. Like he is just vibing my shoulder right now. Hey, who needs a massager when you got one of these little guys, right? You let him lay on your shoulder and purr a while. Man, let me tell you, it does wonders. Let's see. Media now speaks only to the lowest common denominator. Hellsent, the media has only ever spoken to the lowest common denominator. Even Walter Cronkite has been discovered to. Ow! Ah! Damn it! Oh yeah, show your ass to the world. Thanks, bud. Nice going. Yeah, you just showed your ass to the entire world. I'm trying to speak on a serious topic here. Hey, don't walk away from me. Oh, here he goes. And Bub, everybody's saying morning to you. You can't say morning back, you unsociable son of a bitch. God damn it. That did not feel good. Anyway. But yeah, it's our stupidity. It's not only encouraged, I think it's well, they want us obedient, unquestioning, going forward. This is how they create show trials. I mean, today is what, August the 6th? We are 7 months out from what happened in January on the same day. All these people right now who are telling me that an AR-15 is a weapon of war and does not belong on our streets, or that a semi-automatic rifle does not belong in the hands of you and I, are the same people who are telling me that January 6th was a violent insurrection. How does an unarmed group of people nearly overthrow the government. Boy, caught in that one. Fucking oof. That's just my opinion. Yeah, you can have your own. It's fine. Yeah, there we go. First cup of tea is down. I'm awake. Let's see. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. I can't remember who said that. Can you attribute that quote though? I'm probably going to feel like an idiot the minute you do. I probably really am. Same way. Ooh, yep. Rockefeller. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's definitely a Rockefeller quote. Okay, like I said, I was going to feel like a complete idiot for forgetting that, but there it is. But yes, that's the one. If I have any piece of information, anything that I've gleaned from, and here's the thing, I lived through that time period, and I can tell you right now, just some of the things that I had to endure. Thankfully, did I get it pretty bad? Yeah, I got it pretty bad. But I'm gonna. The reason I bring up the West Memphis Three is to show you some people got it a hell of a lot worse. Now, of course, the outcome of that whole thing, myself and many others who supported them wanted to get them free. With their names cleared. We wanted the actual killer or killers caught, and mounting evidence that suggested the three had nothing to do with the murder of the three boys ended up finally, I think, in 2011. So a mere 11 years ago, getting the attention of the courts to the point where they offered the all three of them what's known as the Alford plea. And what the Alford plea does is you're essentially pleading guilty, but what you're saying is that you're telling the court that there may be sufficient evidence to convict you. So you're pleading out, but you're still maintaining your innocence so that you can prove. Now they have to prove they're innocent, right? And that's what they're working to do right now. As a matter of fact, I caught Damian Eccles' last several tweets about that, and he's taking a little time off Twitter, just kind of like regroup, I guess. And okay, that's fine. But there was transcript of it. The WM3.org Foundation, they have never stopped working. I've never stopped supporting them. I really need to get new T-shirts. My T-shirts are old as hell. But anyway, long story short, yes, they are free now. They have every right. They were actually on 10 years unsupervised probation, which, if I'm not mistaken, they've successfully completed. They're out from under, but they still have that conviction on their record. They could still prove themselves to be innocent, though. They could still work to exonerate themselves, which is great. And that's what we're working on right now. Or that's what they're working on. Well, actually, I should say that's what Damian Eccles is working on. Because I don't have a hand in the case. So it's a really weird one. No one ever talked about a connection between the banks and the Marxists. Yeah, no kidding. But watch out for the sensationalism, ladies and gentlemen. The media has been doing it for years. Yesterday's satanic panic is today's woke. It doesn't have to rely on it doesn't have to rely on logic or reason or anything so problematic as that. I mean, that McMartin preschool thing, they did find tunnels under there. Oh, probably for sewer. Did you find a satanic layer? If not, fuck off. It's kind of like one of the things that I mentioned is with most conspiracy theories. Oh, this one's into Moloch worship. Okay, that's great, but think for a second. Okay, this is something I will go a little conspiracy here, just a little out into that field. Just let me put my tinfoil hat on for just a minute. I read Transformation of America and Access Denied for Reasons of National Security by Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. I've watched the presentations. I've read through the MK Ultra files. I have them. Got them on CD. A lot of redacted shit in there. And one of the things that Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips in their books stressed, especially in the first one, go only with what you can prove in court. Those two exhaustively footnote this. Sorry, I gotta get Bub out of the way here. He is flipping smooth out. All kinds of this kind of stuff like that. Footnoted, attributed, linking back to stuff that may have just escaped our, we look at a newspaper or we look on CNN.com or whatever. Oh, there's that news story. We just go right past it. They actually, source everything that they say that backs that up. It is nuts. And so that's one of the things that they kind of taught me. So when you tell me that politicians are involved in some kind of weird cult thing, okay, that's great. But focus on their criminal activity, like some of the insider trading they've been doing that has made them absolutely rich beyond what we could do. They penalize the shit out of us for doing the same. What we would go to prison for, they get to do. And oh no, I didn't do that. Okay, well maybe I did it, but there's a reason. This is different. No, this is just a little bit different than what you do, peasant. Okay, well it's not different, but guess what? What are you going to do about it? That's how that whole argument evolves, because they know they've done it. You start accusing, you get these people that make the accusations, they're involved in some weird cult ritual. Okay, so what? Then there's that circular logic that keeps happening. Start noticing that? Nah, that's not what I want to listen to. I want to listen to, here's what they did. Here's the financials to back it up, because that's something you can prove in court. That's something you could bring into a court of law and go, oh, no, you, sir, wrote this law. You are not above it. That to me makes a lot more sense. It keeps us out of the whole trashy daytime TV court of public opinion. That's why I don't watch shit like that. Let's see what we got. Hey, Raven, your reading yesterday was on point. And guess what? I have an announcement about that video. Guess what? Can't upload it to BitChute. It's too big. My BitChute audience won't get that video because it's, what is it? 0.23 gigs too big. But thank you. Thank you. And Thursday's nicely done. Thank you so much. How can I get a mob of psychics? How can a mob of psychotics? Wow, you see where my mind went. How can a mob of psychotics ever be suitable to judge others? Oh, they can be. They very well can be. You know why? It's what these people want. I mean, your trial. believe one thing. Those of us, I think, sooner rather than later, they won't need stitches. I get my news from memes. Why not? Shit, at this point, we're living in a clown world. You might as well. I prefer something of a little more substance, but I have to make time for that. Unfortunately, memes are like headlines. They're the only ways of really kind of getting some of the real information out, but you got to watch yourself. Okay. So many people see many people who actually said that they got red pilled through memes. You know what? Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, someone did a video. This has been so long ago, I don't remember. I cannot attribute it, but someone was doing a video review of some Metal Gear video games, and they brought up, and like it took a very long time to get there, but it was still so worth it. They brought up mimetic warfare, where you're basically waging war via memes. And this was on like an old version of Metal Gear. So I was like, I was kind of blown away at this guy's presentation. I really would, if anyone finds it, bring it to me for the next one, and bring it to me for the next live stream. I'll pop it up there, show it off to everybody. That's too bad. Link them to the Odyssey. You know what? That's where and yes. Thank you, Stein. Thank you, Kaylee. I really, Norse. Yeah, we don't get nice. We get Norse. Valhalla at your boy. We got, there's a dude from my city that's been making fake headline memes that get shared around and reported as fake news, but then they have to talk about the real issue that's actually worse than the meme. Worse how? Worse how? I would really like to know. Listen, I'm not going to lie, I did not originate that one. That one came from Epic Rap Battles of History, Zeus versus Thor, and they did it in Lego. And Thor went, Valhalla at your boy, and we'll fight it out, but keep your eyes scarred up. I Ragnarok the house, you tongue kiss your sister. That's grosser than a Gorgon. I'm the Thunder Down, Underdale, and Natalie Portman. I went, we went with movie Thor there. Okay. But I love Val. I totally stole that line, and I use it a lot in my, in life outside of here. So, yeah, Valhalla at your boy. The proper use of the term flight is what surprised me, because I don't know how many people have realized this, but a sort of like a deprecating poetry contest is basically like the earliest form of rap battling. That's what flighting is. It's Old Norse rap battling. Let's see what we got. Okay, so Tim Hortons camp banned unvaxxed kids. Made a meme about them only segregating kids. Now they have to talk about banning unvaxxed completely. Because the fact checkers that would have to say was then would have to say was actually going on. Yep, that is very true. Fact checkers. Boy, don't I wish we had some of those back in the day, right? To actually do that. We did. We actually did. Came in the form of the guys who produced the West Memphis 3 documentaries, and the second one leans a little too much one way. And believe me, it had me convinced for a little while, but then I got to get on the inside of that a little bit. I actually got to get inside that case just a little bit and get a little bit of a window into it. And I'm going to say this. The second one, when you're watching it, step back a little bit. Don't get too ready, to go in, because that third one's still coming. And believe me, you haven't seen anything to see that third one. And like I said, I was there for some of it. I got to get a little bit on the inside of that, and I got to talk to some people that were like right up on it. So yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, today's you play, or remember yesterday during the panic, oh, you played D&D, yeah. Oh, that's a terrible thing. You shouldn't do that. No, it's a game of good versus evil. Only a Satanist would say that. Do you see what I'm talking about when I talk about circular logic? It's extremely harmful, and guess what? It can affect you too. And these are people that did not have their facts. Remember what I said? I really wish we had fact checkers then. Yeah. Start making false claims about D&D. We pop up in the TV shows. We pop up, in on those Donahue call-ins, and hold up. Nope. No one's putting the souls of players into miniatures. That's not how that works. In fact, many of us never played with miniatures. I didn't have my first real set of miniatures until Hero Quest, and then we, kind of fashioned our own, but we ended up moving just a pencil, paper, and dice, and the occasional map for visual reference. That's all we had for a long time. So that seems like a lot of effort. And the other claim was these roving bands of devil worshippers were going around snatching up blonde-haired, blue-eyed children, sacrificing them at the stroke of midnight on Halloween. All because of the Satanic Bible, page 66, line 6. I'm serious as a heart attack. That was actually told to me. I was like, why aren't these bodies popping up? Well, they have portable crematoriums. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I actually have a PDF copy of the Satanic Bible. And would people bring that page 66, line 6, I bring that up, and then the argument is always, well, they'll never just come out and say it outright, don't you know? But you can see these examples of circular logic. And I think any psychiatrist can kind of, I don't know if you can apply Dunning-Kruger syndrome to that type of scenario, but you could definitely see this type of thinking done today. When the media holds all the power, when the arguments don't have to make sense, and where they don't, when you call them out, well, then you're just that other that they've created. So, like I said, get ready. Start really watching. It gets really strange really quickly. See, yeah. Yep. Yes, that was the thing. And it's shocking. It's shocking, and I'll tell you how this takes hold, especially as a kid. Like I said, I grew up in this, and during my catechism classes, they would teach us this, and every year they had me in fucking terror. I would be in absolute horror. When you're a kid, you don't question this kind of thing. When you're a kid, this makes sense. You're trusting these adults with your spiritual development, and you're absolutely certain they're just trying to keep you from ending up on a milk carton, which that was another thing here in the States. The picture, when you hear milk carton kids, it was because a kid went missing, and so they started putting the pictures of these missing kids with their info on the side of these milk cartons. And every time you went to the grocery store, you get the reminder, you don't want to end up like this guy. Don't want to end up like him. You stay with me. I mean, there were all kinds of things going on around that. I'm talking, the paranoia on that was ramped up to about 30. So 11 was a forgotten, how can I put it? That was a forgotten metric. Yeah. And why do people believe stuff like that? Simple. Fear. You put people under a 24-hour, 7-day a week news cycle of fear. Oh, yeah. They're going to circle the wagons, people. That's why I say be very, very careful with stuff like that. D&D. Okay, Arpita. Then lived it. Wow. I'd actually like to hear. I'd like to hear more about that. See, yeah, there is a story behind the milk carton thing. As a matter of fact, I think that came up. I found a video that I think Dicebreaker did on the Satanic Panic, and I shared it because it really has a lot to do with. I'm going to tell you there are like 3 or 4 different avenues that the Satanic Panic hits: horror movies, hard rock, heavy metal music, role playing games, and then fashion. So when you're talking about like goth fashions, for example, yeah, that was a thing. And guess what? If you were just a metalhead wearing the latest Megadeth T-shirt, you had long stringy hair or a mullet and a Walkman on your side, you know, that's prior to MP3 players and phones, kids. Prior to even CD players. I still have one. It's big. It's bulky. It was heavy. It rode on your belt and had headphones only slightly smaller than these. That was a thing. But yeah, if you saw a kid walking around like that, you know, leather jacket, battle jacket over that, okay, that, you know, parents could get a little concerned. But then you had a kid go full goth, especially if they were male in a small town in the South. You might as well be the Joker in Gotham City as far as they were concerned. So, well, funny you should mention that, Kaylee. I'm actually reaching for it right now. That's why I got up. I'm going to shut this thing off. Yep. In a time before MP3 players, another world, another time, in the age of wonder. And yes, watch how this one opens up though. I actually paid $50 for this because it was listed, I'm not kidding you, as vintage electronics, and my exact reaction was, what? Yeah, $50. So, and then there we go. And yes, I've got Hannibal by Thomas Harris, book on tape, baby. Batteries are like right in here. And yeah, it has AM, FM, and cassette. Yeah. Still have it. Still have it. It's a beast. Yes, this is the biggest one I've ever owned. My favorite one was an Iowa. I absolutely love the thing. It was nice. It was slim. It was beautiful. It was an absolutely beautiful. Yeah, this thing's pretty fancy. Digital tuning, mega bass, all that good stuff. Old, not obsolete. I hear cassettes are coming back. I hear that's kind of a niche thing. I hear that's kind of its own niche hobby. And, well, hey, man, I'm still down. I think I still have some, like, Offspring tapes that I can listen to around here somewhere. You know? Cassette players are vintage. I didn't feel old enough already. Well, well, if I'm not mistaken, I think the movie Aliens just turned, what, 36, 37? 37. Anybody gets that reference? You're old. But yeah, I lived through all that, and that constant fear was always there. And I will never forget uh, AD&D First Quest dropped in front of us, and we were like, you know, I remember, like, I'm trying out heavy metal for the first. I didn't realize I was listening to it the whole time. It was always on the radio. Bands like Rat, Def Leppard, they were considered metal back in the day. You know, Winger. You know, there were some acts that rocked a little harder on the radio too that I remember. Guns N' Roses, I was just kind of getting into them. I was about 13 years old when that started happening, and then that summer when I found out I've been lied to. You want to talk about being? You want to know why I was a pretty fuck angry kid? Yep, Wasp. Wasp. I fight like a beast. I loved, still do, still love Wasp. That was one I had to kind of listen to on the slick, though. You know, you could not have a cassette tape with a song title like "Animal Parenthetical Fuck Like a Beast." You could not have that. I probably had worse, though. I will be honest, especially since I started moving into CDs, and yeah, it got. Especially when I started earning my own money and being able to go out and do all that, I would come home with like Cradle of Filth's deluxe version of Cruelty and the Beast. And that's the thing, like with me and my friends, their taste got heavier. Mine went darker. I don't know. I was, you know, hey, I was pissed off. I was pissed off I was being lied to, number one. Number two, yeah, it made me a little bit of an edgelord. Not even gonna lie. Yeah. Oh, Bible Belt kids, yeah. That was us. That was definitely us. We lived in the buckle of it. I'm telling you, man. It, you know, a small town in the South. I will say this much for that old small town, though. I was about maybe 20 minutes away from a larger city, 45 from an even larger city than that, but still easily navigatable. Uh, and then, what, 15 to 20 minutes away from middle of nowhere. Kind of really didn't know how good that really was until I left it. And here it is, almost 15 years later, and I'm like, man, I want to go back. I really do. And, you know, as prevalent as ignorance can be there, it's just as bad up here. Only it just wears a different T-shirt. You know, down there it's all devil worshippers, blah 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 blah. Up here it's all racist, Nazis, and I'm like, Nazis to the left of me, racist to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. I apologize for that. I apologize for the singing. I am so sorry I subjected you to it. And to quote Camelot 331, because I'm dumber than my old baby. Sorry about that. That was way out of line for me. But yeah. No better. I should put. I keep wanting to read these, but I keep forgetting to put them on the screen. Here we go. It's no better up here in Canada. Never apologize. I apologize for the singing. I don't apologize for shit else. Definitely don't. And that's one of the things I want to encourage people to do. You know, I'm all like libertarian. I am conspiring to do one of the most evil things in the world. That's to leave you alone. All I ask is just same in return, really. You know, I don't care who you date. I don't care who you fuck. I don't care how many times you do it. I don't care what you put in your body. I don't give a shit about any of that. You do you. You're a grown adult. make informed decisions. The only thing I will ever ask is just handle your own business. That's it. That's the only thing I ask. Practice a little bit of responsibility. You're gonna be just fine, in my opinion. But yeah, I definitely don't apologize for anything, especially, well, unless it's my singing or my dancing, which no one wants to ever see me do or hear me do. uh, but you know what? I do have a few spots open. We've still got like 40 minutes left. And after that, I'm going to grab lunch. I'm going to get Bub some lunch. I've got to go out, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be purchasing a memory card for my old phone. That's just to hold like pictures and all manner of other things. And that's because my old SD card got moved to my new phone, which I'm going to tell you right now, that new phone, whoa, baby, isn't an upgrade. And let me tell you, one of the first things I noticed about it, I paired my Bluetooth headset with it. I went out for a walk very late last night to get that 10,000 step goal in, and I crushed the shit out of it. And I'm going to be getting more because I am going out. I'm going out on foot today. I don't want to drive. Saturday drivers are pure assholes up here, and they'll hit you, blame you for the whole thing, and claim that you owe them money for their for the damage done to their car. That's the kind of people they are. It's there are some people in this area that I'll tell you one thing, when they come into where I work, I look out for them because I genuinely care for those people, and there are, I could probably count them on both hands. They're just good people, trying to make it. They're trying to get through. They're friendly. They're nice. They're not judgmental. They're my kind of mental, though. And I dig that. They got great senses of humor. They joke with me just as much as I joke with them. Their kids will joke with me just as much as I joke with them. And I'll tell their kids, excuse me, sir, are you up to date on your boops on snoots? And stuff like that. And most kids, when they see that, they get this deer caught in headlights look. They were not expecting that voice to come out of a grown man that day. I can tell some of you probably weren't either. Just, someone was like, fuck this noise. I'm out. They just left. Let's see. I am not starting this live stream with a song and dance routine. Fuck that. No. Absolutely not. I think the not the last live stream that I did with Blackwall, but the first one I ever did was probably the absolute worst. Oh my goodness. I was actually reading from a treasury of best loved fairy tales, and I just kind of picked one I didn't think many people had heard before. And I was reading it, just live reading it, because I love fairy tales. I love folklore. And there were a lot of people in the chat at the time, and one of them posted, I swear to you, I'm not kidding. I really wish I don't know if that, like, if you go back and watch that one, I think you'll see it in the chat. Someone posted, next time read Mein Kampf. I went, oh, what the I counted that live stream as a bit of a disaster, and I was like, I'll wait to do another one. And then we did one with Blackwall a couple weeks ago. We're doing this one today. I know I got a game a little bit later today, so I'm really excited about that. But no, I'm not starting. I'm not starting these live streams with a song and dance. That is, I am David Lee Roth. I am not. Okay. I don't care if I do occasionally, throw some fake hair on top of my head. Nah. Fuck that. Let's see. I'm putting a poll up in the tribe. I don't give a shit about your poll. I am not doing a song and dance routine. Fuck that. There we go. All right. Uh, but if anyone would like to join me live and just chat with me for a little while, let me know. I will send you. I do have an invite link. I will send it over to you. You can come on in and we can yak. And I don't mean you know any soul coughing there. So not even for the lulls. No, no way. Fuck that. You know what's odd? Here's something I find odd, and it might be just a setting thing. These 2 hour live streams, I could post a bit shoot a 35 to 45 minute video of a tarot reading. I can't because the file's too large. It's like, jeez, how the hell did they even come to that? I don't know. Sony, it's a thing. And here's the thing: if you want to know what kind of equipment I'm using, that's it. This guy right here, little $200 Sony Handycam. That's what I'm using for those readings every morning. To pre-record it, and it takes a micro SD card. It's as a matter of fact, that Handycam is that bridge with the flowing water underneath it. Yeah, shot that with that camera. So, believe it or not, you don't need a lot of expensive equipment to do videos like this. You really don't. Just kind of how it is, I'm using a cheap ass webcam right now, so. And I still have the one I have from like 2005. It's sitting over there. It doesn't work as well anymore. It's a rather things like the size of a baseball. It's crazy. So what we got here. Is it the music and stuff you add? Yeah, actually, the music I use comes from one guy, and it's royalty free. His name is Ian Grimm. And I do put that in the credits. So if you stay through the credits, you actually see what pieces I'm using for the intro, what pieces I'm using for the outro. And when I used to do the the quick shuffle videos, like I used to do this little intro where you'd see me shuffle decks very quickly. It's because I actually set that camera on me while I was shuffling the deck. And then I'd do the cuts and I'd put it away and I'd do the whole thing. And then there it goes. Intro. Actual intro. I cut that out because number one, it takes up some processing time. And number two, anything I could do to kind of shave off just a little bit of time. I think people saw me shuffle enough that they were satisfied I wasn't like stacking the deck or trying to create the readings or something like that. No, those cards, they come randomly and I have to interpret them. And of course, Eric can attest. I really don't know Eric. Like, we've never met. And I did his live reading absolutely cold. And he's one of a few I could count. I think he's one of like 3 people I've read absolutely cold. And the reading still resonated with him. So happy to keep doing it. As a matter of fact, I missed Tuesday and I was like, oh, I was angry at myself for missing Tuesday. I really hated myself for that because every day I don't practice is a day I feel like I'm dulling my edge there. It's like the fine edge of a knife. If you have it sharpened, it cuts more easily. It does things more effectively. Once it's dull, though, it tends to rip and tear, and it doesn't do as well. So that's one of those things that I was a little let's see. It's a really nice touch. Oh, you're talking about the intro and outro, the opening and closing of the videos, or the shuffling. See, here I go talking, and you guys are posting, and I'm like, wait, what? Short memory, guys. I've had a very, very long couple of weeks because my paid time off only got approved like, I don't know, about like 3 weeks ago. But anyway, this. If only this were my job, this would be great. I think so. I know. I mean, there are people that do this as a job, so I imagine it's got to be harder than my job because my job's kind of predictable. I go in, there are going to be people that pick up certain medications regularly. I know we need to get certain things done. And believe one thing, with the volume we've been doing, it's getting harder and harder to get those things done. It really is. And I got to say this much. Here's something else I don't think most of those mandatory shot people thought about. Oh, they want all the unjabbed to be purged. Yeah, good idea. Let me tell you what that leads to. Staff shortages. Big time. So if you're pro jab to the point where it was just, this is what I'm going to do for me and my family, okay. If you were pro mandate and you really like that, that person got fired, good, we didn't need them in there. If that's the kind of person you are, now you're bitching about staff shortages, yeah, like you like those people getting fired, huh? Welcome to it. That's what you got. Let's see. We totally do that with a tribal podcast. I want to be able to make some money off it eventually, and I'm definitely willing to split. Yeah, you know what? In the tribal chat, Stein makes a great point. They just did. I wasn't able to make it because I had to work. This is about a week ago, and I still haven't had a moment to sit down and listen to it. I planned to do it last night, but my phone went fucky. I had to go get a new one. So I'm still not even finished setting it up. I did the initial setup last night. I got to get back to that because I never finished that. But anyway, I'm gonna bring this up again. They recorded the podcast on Ragnarok just about a week ago. It's been up. It's on Spotify. It's on Anchor FM. It's on YouTube. It's on Odyssey. It's everywhere. It's everywhere we are. And if I know my tribe here, I know my people, they really did a good job, and they want to turn it into a series. And they're asking me to come in on it. I'm more than willing. Hey, let's get it done. Like 3 days. It's only been up like 3 days. So I definitely, Stein, pop those links in. I will put them up on screen. Just start throwing them in there. Shamelessly promote that shit. I encourage everyone who hasn't taken a look into this to take a look into it. One of the more easily digestible sources for people who are complete newbies who really don't want to commit to like the Poetic Edda, which depending on who's translated it and published it, it can be kind of a slog to get through. If you have the Hoopla app, you can actually listen to Dr. Jackson Crawford's Poetic Edda. It's not a slog to get through. And you will even get the Cowboy Havamal with it. You can listen to him read it, so you get the pronunciations, you get all that. Dr. Carolyn Larrington's Poetic Edda is also kind of easily digestible, but if you're not interested in sources like that, or Snorri Sturluson, guess what? Norse Myths and Tales from Epic Tales. I know Eric, I mentioned this to Eric. Eric said that he ordered a copy. This is one of the best. I mean, it's $12, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I encourage owning physical whenever possible. That way you're not you don't get edited out. I do recommend this. I also have Celtic Myths and Tales in this same type of volume, but the foil is green. I really want to get Greek Myths and Tales next. That is one of the next pieces I want to add. But anyway, let's see. Anchor pushes it to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Yes, it does. So there's that. Owning physical copies when you're a tramp in Southeast Asia. Okay, yeah. Like I said, when and where you can. Okay, when and where you can. If you have to go digital, if your library has to be a digital thing, I completely understand. Guys, I own digital too. I don't have a lot of room in here, so it's 6 one, half dozen of the other. If you have to own digital, though, back up all the files to like an external hard drive that you can just kind of tuck away. Because if an update comes and, oh, we're not going to allow you to read that book, I'm going to put that book back on here. If you fuck with me again, I'll hack this device. You'll never have access. Stuff like that. That can be done. The one great thing about my new phone, though, I found out I didn't have to hack it to take Facebook off of it. There's your dance, okay? My happy dance. My Cabbage Patch, baby. Yes, I'm totally happy about that. Motorola, you have just earned a customer. LG, get your head out of your ass. When I want a fucking app off my phone, I want it off my phone. Let's see, cleaned up an edited version on Odyssey. Excellent. All right, so let me see if I get this right. The YouTube version is raw and uncut, cleaned up and edited on Odyssey. Am I correct in that one? I hope so. Hope I haven't made too much. I have been paying attention on Twitter. I have been looking and on Minds as well. So, oh wow, we got some. There we go. Got a lot going on here. There is one thing I wanted to bring up in terms of tabletop role playing games. Coyote and Crow. I don't know how many people have heard of this. If you haven't heard of this game, okay. So yes, raw uncut is on YouTube, cleaned up, edited on Odyssey. So be sure to check it. Like I said, throw the links up in here. I'll start putting them on the screen for those people who might want to check it out. But Coyote and Crow is a game I came across. It deals with Native American fantasy magic and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to lie, I was super interested. Ladies and gentlemen, I grew up around Cherokee and Coushatta tribes. They were in my area. And for the most part, they owned casinos. And I'd been in those casinos. I played D&D in Grand Casino Coushatta in one of the restaurants. They didn't care that we were there several hours. As long as we ordered something, they were fine. So that's the only gaming I've ever done in a casino. Aside from that, I would never step foot in one. But anyway, I've been fascinated by that kind of culture because there are some serious similarities between Norse and Celtic cultures and Native American cultures. I was super interested in it because I'm super interested in the, how did they treat their magic, their ceremonies and stuff like that. One guy I know bought the book and he was like, oh, it's on the way. I was like, great. Let me know how it is. Another friend of mine borrowed a copy. And both of them revealed to me that there was some anti-white sentiment in there. And I tried to kind of handle it and discuss it as fairly as possible until, it just came up that Well, they let the mask slip. The creators did. They really let that mask slip just recently. Um, you know what? If I can find it, I wonder if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm gonna read this. Let's see if I can go. How about this picture layout? Yeah. Okay. Can I share my screen? Like I said, everything about this is just. I put it full screen for some stupid reason. News layout. Shared screen. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. Oh, hang on to that. Here we go. Okay, so Brave tab. Yeah, this is the one I want to share. Share that. I hope you could see this. Actually, I'm going to kind of do this. There we go. So, an important message from Connor over at Coyote and Crow. This is an archive page because, honestly, don't want to give them any traffic. So here you go. Hey folks, I've got something important to talk about. This has come up on a few different channels and worded in a few different ways. And I got an email today that made me realize I really need to fully address this situation once and for all. So this post is directed specifically at people who are feeling squeamish about playing Coyote and Crow. White people, you can play Coyote and Crow, for fuck's sake. Okay, let me get into this. First, you're concerned that you shouldn't be playing Coyote and Crow. It's likely you're a white person. Wow. Assumption right off the bat, huh? And you're worried that playing this game constitutes some form of cultural appropriation, or that you would somehow misrepresent indigenous peoples during your time playing the game. Well, that comes in the way that you worded it, Connor. You and your team. I mean, first you told us, you were telling like me as a player, white people as a player, do not treat it like a costume. You know, don't treat this like it's blackface. Don't make it a cartoonish version. And constantly hammering home, this is an alternate history scenario without the colonizers. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to how they came to that alternate reality. A meteor hits Europe, wipes out all the white people. I'm not kidding you. That's in the book. And then they tell you, if you have a native player at your table, don't make that person the go-to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. Okay, I know what my lineages are, and if we're playing a game based on those lineages, and you have a question, and I'm the only guy that has that, like I'm the only Celt in the, at the fucking table, it is perfectly acceptable for you to ask me questions. You want to play your character looking like William Wallace with the blue face paint and the great kilt from Braveheart, even though it's historically inaccurate, fine. I'm not going to get bent out of shape about that. But this is the kind of thing that they're going to tell you as a player, is that you can't use me as a go-to, or you shouldn't use me as a go-to. So basically, the way they've structured that kind of, we're going to put white people in this box. Now, you don't move from this box. Well, you can, but it's going to be a minefield, and every mine you step on is going to be the native player being able to lecture you and hold up gameplay for who knows how long. I get that instinct, no shit. It likely comes from the fact that you're trying to be an ally to indigenous folks, probably to a POC in general. You're being respectful. No, Connor, we're navigating a fucking minefield. Except you're not. Well, yeah, you're right. You're not being respectful when you refuse to play Coyote and Crow for that reason. You're not being an ally. You're being a shitty person, and frankly, you're being a little racist. Okay, Connor. Then he says, feel free to gasp and fan yourself if you need to. When you're finished, please read on. Okay, before I read on. Connor, first off, I just told you where it comes from. It comes from you. You tell us that we have to walk this straight and narrow path, but you don't make that path clear. You attacked people. There were white people, goodly enough to back you on Kickstarter. You guys made at least a cool $1 million from what I heard off your Kickstarter. Took a whole lot of white people to throw that money at you. Let's get that straight. There's not going to be any gasping or fanning myself. No, I'm not being racist. I'm just not going to stress myself out. But wait, we'll get back to that. So we're reading on. If you're not Thai, do you not go to Thai restaurants because that would be appropriation? If you're not Mexican, do you not bring home Mexican food? If I invited you to my house to have some Indian tacos, would you not eat them because that would be disrespectful? But Connor, it isn't the same. I'm just eating the food. Pretending to be indigenous in a role-playing game isn't the same thing. Yes, that is true, Connor. That is absolute fact. That is a false equivalency, and you fucking well know it. But, oh, Connor goes even deeper in. That's some bullshit, and here's why, and I can't believe I have to explain this to so many of you. There's a difference between taking and giving. Taking something is when you, the taker, impose your desires and wants on someone else. You remove something from that someone's possession and make it your own. It's at the core of colonizing. Pot, kettle, and I know a thing or two about kettles. Insert proper color here. It's rampant in our modern American culture to this day. No, it's not, Connor. No, it's not. You know what is rampant right now, Connor? Your paranoia. And now that you're going on the offensive, we're just going to kind of sit back and watch you pitch a fit like a child. It's part of what I'm pushing back against in the game industry. Coyote and Crow is a reaction to taking. No, Connor, you released a game that pissed people off, made people uncomfortable. They wouldn't recommend it. And guess what, Connor? You're not the only one to release a Native American themed setting. Giving is the opposite. Giving is surrendering something voluntarily to others. Connor, let me ask you something. Because I'm really curious. I seem to remember these videos going around a couple of years ago. From inside the occupied zone in Portland, the Chaz, if you will. And I if you're chatting right now, I will have to get back to you because I can't see it. I'm actually reading this thing right here. They told all white people should give $5 to $10 to a person of color. And if you have problems with that, what are you going to do when we come take your land? Fuck off of that shit, Connor. You know you're full of shit. It's an offering. It's sharing. More than 24 Native folks worked on Coyote and Crow, and a ton of great non-Native allies, too. There's that word again. Allies. Connor, just use the term we all know you're trying to use. Useful idiot. And we work to offer you all something. A vision of a world without colonization and the people that live in that world. Yeah, a world without white people entirely. No excuses. Blanket dead. That's a better world to Connor here. Never mind that, people like me, we're just making YouTube videos. We're just, we're out to play games. We're out to have fun. And yes, Connor, we actually opened up the invite to you. It's a mistake we shouldn't have made, in my opinion. There are fictional people who live in a fictional world. Well, guess what, Connor? Do you get in on the orcs are racist sentiment as well? Noah, Coyote, and Crow inserted direct one-to-one real-world indigenous cultures into the game. Inspired by, sure. Here we go. Then why bring up the natives and allies, Connor? Jesus, I can see where this gets exhausting for some. I understand. But just as often as not, it's extrapolation and speculation. Playing Coyote and Crow is pretending to be indigenous. The same way playing it human in a Star Wars RPG is pretending to be from Earth. There's kind of a difference there, Connor. A big one. I'll leave it to you to figure it out, though. Here's and this is from the page. They actually put this in here. Here you go. This is from one of the pages here. Additionally, you may be in a situation where you are playing with non-native players. We'll have specific instructions for them on how to be respectful and to keep the game fun for all. For the most part, you can just direct them to play off the page. That is, if it's in the book, they can do it. If it's not, and those players want to do something that may be drifting into a sensitive or inappropriate territory, you'll have to decide whether that's something you'll want to stop play over to discuss. Safety card stuff here. X card, safety tools, I guess. To avoid potential disruption, we suggest discussing these possibilities prior to your first session. Connor, that's been happening in every game of D&D or GURPS I've ever played. It's called setting expectations. And it always ends with, if this is something you as a player will be uncomfortable with, please find a table that will be more accommodating. Connor, that has been going on for years. You do not have a specific set of instructions for white people. But here it is. Yeah. If you do not have heritage indigenous to the Americas, we ask you to not incorporate any of your knowledge or ideas of real-world Native Americans into the game. Please avoid the following: assigning your character the heritage of a real-world tribe or First Nation, assigning your character a two-spirit identity, using any words taken from indigenous languages that aren't used as proper nouns in the game materials, or listed as being part of Chahi. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm not going to really try. Speaking or acting in any fashion that mimics what are almost certainly negative stereotypes of Native Americans. And let's see. However, don't be afraid to play this game. This world and the world in this book is rich and diverse, full of science and spirituality. Yeah, I'll bet. Play your characters as people, not natives, and you'll be fine. Then why are you putting such emphasis on it, Connor? Oh. If you are playing with other players who are native, do not be afraid to ask them respectful questions about their own identities. I know it's in here somewhere. You know what? I'll have to find that page again. Honestly, though we shouldn't need these 4 pages, everything I wrote above is just common sense to me. You're right. You don't need those pages, Connor. Many of us, we're not stupid. And those 4 pages, if there's not racism in your game, Connor, you sure did pull out the racial purity thing. The very thing you guys get on Varg about for Miffarog. Yeah, you did that. You face planted very, very hard. By the way, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But let me tell you this. Here's something I want to put out there. Sure, go ahead and call it respect if you want, but what I see is avoidance. I don't give a shit what you see, Connor. What you see does not mean shit to me. Okay, thank you very much. Look, if you don't want to play CNC because you're not into science fantasy, or you think the rules are too crunchy, or you just don't like D12s or alternative history RPGs aren't your thing, go on with your bad self. You do you. But if the only thing holding you back is you don't feel comfortable pretending to be a person with browner skin than you, even when indigenous folks are literally trying to offer you the game, then you're the problem. Sort your shit. And if you still can't get past it, just buy our game because you're an ally and want to put it on yourself and never play it. That works too. Remember when I said I'd get back to that? Yep, there it is. Right there in that last line. I will highlight it if I can. There it is. Just buy our game because you're an ally. And then put it on yourself and never play it. That works too. Fuck you, Connor. That kind of attitude I will never support. Fuck that. Let's see. Let's go back here. Just go back to the chat. Clean up editor. Okay, yeah, there we go. So they are all in the chat. By the way, you should push the last one. You hosted a bit more. It's really interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. The backpedaling is real. Yes, it is. Boy, is it ever. I will put a link to this thing. See, we're taking revenge by doing the exact same thing you did to us, but we get away with it because we're the victims first. Yep. Victim mentality right there. Don't play the game if you're not native, but please buy my game. That's exactly it. Yes. I want to play Mifrog, or however that game is spelled. Well, I really don't promote it. I actually own 2 editions of it. The reason I don't promote it is because it's as a rule set. As a rule set, it's actually okay. Nothing wrong with it as a rule set. It's the lore that sucks. I don't know what Varg was thinking. There's very little lore that retcons a ton of shit from what I hear from another YouTuber DM, adventure publisher. He said if you're going to purchase any one of them, get, I think it's like 2.7, get that version. Let those allies eat each other and destroy themselves. Yeah, that's usually what ends up happening. Salted after it's all burned down. I don't know, man. Well, it's not going to be. The discussion on Ragnarok, I'm sure, brings that up. So definitely check that out. Sorry for the angry rant there, but I'm not going to let lies stand. But anyway, here is uh-oh. I screwed that up. I screwed it up. There we go. Okay, copy that. I'm going to go over here into the stream and drop that link. There we go. I'm not going to let Western civilization stand. Well, not if it's built on lies. I wouldn't let I just won't let lies stand. Period. You know, it's not even a discussion for me. And one of the big ones centered around this shit right here. You could be inhaling toxic metals like nickel and cadmium into your lungs. That's metal in your lungs. Yeah. If you're using 6-month ass, dirty ass coils and you're not cleaning them or you're not replacing them, yeah, that can actually happen. But guess what? If you're cleaning them, if you're taking care of them, if you're replacing them every 2-3 weeks when you should, yeah, you're not really going to have that problem. The problem with a lot of these people is they tend to leave stuff out. And guess what? Right there in the chat, if you want to read the full fuck you argument that Connor put out there, I can tell you this much: he's leaving out some stuff. He is. He's definitely leaving out some stuff. Says one is the West civilized. All the culture white people have stolen from every other culture. That's what the Wookiees say. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say this. Say what you want about the '90s, but I can tell you right now, there were more. There were some pretty diverse shows that were ranking very high in the ratings. In Living Color, that's where Jim Carrey got his big break. I mean, granted, he was actually in the movie Once Bitten before that, and another movie where he had a bit part as I think, a limo driver called High Strung, and he was presented as the lead in the movie art after he became famous, which he's not. But Jim Carrey was on In Living Color. He was able to kind of parlay that into Ace Ventura, and then on from there. The Wayans brothers. Look at everything they've done. And the thing is, all of their humor, a lot of it, a greater majority of it, was race based. And if you went back and watched some of those episodes, like you see the superhero handyman, that would not fly on TV today, no matter who did it. They did skits like Fire Marshal Bill. That was another Jim Carrey skit. And let me tell you, Fire Marshal Bill was mangled. He was all kind of fucked up. There was the head detective and all these skits that are there now, you know. We're not interested. Fuck off. Probably just another one of those. Anyway, let's see. If taxation is theft, civilization is theft. Jim Carrey was on Pharma. Everyone was and still is. White chicks would be hailed these days. But I'm going to say this. White Chicks was actually genuinely funny. It was just, I don't know. It's one of those movies I watch. There's also Blank Man, which was like entirely childish, but damn, it was fun. It was funny. Yeah, I consumed a lot of that kind of media because back then we were laughing. Look at the Jeffersons. God, what else? All in the Family. So we're talking well before the '90s. All in the Family, racist as hell. The Jeffersons, racist as hell. And you laughed at it because it made you realize how stupid it all was. And you were laughing at the absurdity of it. And I think it's people that, you know, there are people that saw that the fire was dying and they had to throw gasoline on the embers. My personal opinion. No one has to share it, of course. It's just how I'm rolling. But anyway, got some more. It was so over the top, but it was so good. Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing: the Dukes of Hazzard. Not a racist moment in that show. As a matter of fact, I think Uncle Jesse corrects one of the Duke boys, where he squarely stuck him right in his place and did it very gently, very lovingly, as family should. Yeah. You know what that show was about? It was about a couple guys bootlegging with a muscle car. Yeah. A muscle car that they raced. Want to know why that's relevant? Because that's where stock car racing comes from. Married with Children. Yes, that would get canceled very quickly. Holy shit. The minute that Al Bundy forms No Ma'am, the National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood. Oh my goodness. Classic. I love that show. I absolutely adore that show. It's one of my favorite sitcoms. But another one of my favorite sitcoms just happens to be The Addams Family. I've been watching a lot of that lately. And we're talking with Ted Cassidy as Lurch and Oh, what the hell was his name? John Aston as Gomez Adams. So, back when we had a sense of humor, and believe it or not, that was a sitcom that was, you could put a kid in front of it. You could absolutely put a child in front of in front of the TV with the Adams Family on. It didn't have to be the Brady Bunch. It could be the Adams Family. Yeah, they're just this kind of weird, kooky ass family. You know, they're weird, but it works for them. That they made it work. All the fat jokes, slut jokes, incel jokes, sexist jokes, all the jokes. Yes, all the jokes. All the jokes, especially those directed at Marcy. Oh my God. She was the butt of so many jokes. And the weird part is the object of Bud's affection for a while. Oh, love that show. It's great. The only Adams Family actor's name I remember is Christina Ricci. That's because of pathetic drawings. No, here's the thing. Hell, those movies are good. I will forever. I have a soft spot for Adams Family and Adams Family Values. I do, because Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christina Ricci, all of them, that whole cast did so well, offering their own take on the 60s TV show. They made it just that little touch darker, and it worked. And the guy that they got to play Lurch, I think, did a very respectful nod to Ted Cassidy's Lurch. I think he did very well, and love it. Chicken Leg Marcy. Why does he keep calling me a chicken? I love that bit. That was so great. Not the original, I know. Yeah, but it's look, not even the original goes with the original, because the original was a comic strip drawn by a guy who made them as like sort of a kooky analog to his own family. And as a matter of fact, there is a CGI cartoon. If you watch that, that is even more faithful of an adaptation of that cartoon than the original TV show is. We just have fonder members of the TV show, and of course those movies from the 90s. Nothing wrong with that. I think they're all great. Oh, Christina Ricci, yes, please. I get the attraction. I do. Not really my thing, but I get it. She does some pretty good work in the roles that she gets. I will absolutely tip of the cowboy hat, ma'am. Yes, Christina Ricci is pretty awesome, though. I will say this though, that the new Matrix movie, The Matrix 4, which doesn't exist as canon in my opinion, she had a very, very bit part, and it was mostly her just regurgitating a lot of the shit you'd hear on Twitter. Let's see. Is she actually a human being? Weird proportions. I don't know. And by the way, there's a meme that goes around. It says, tips fedora leaves server, and it shows this big fat guy tipping his fedora. That guy actually played Pugsley in a TV movie that they made in between the 1960 series and the 90s movies. I'm serious. So you got a hat tip from Pugsley, son. Oh man. Nope, didn't know anything about the Matrix after the first one. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, some people stopped at the original Matrix because, quite frankly, it was brand new. Nobody had done that before. And there was a lot of groundbreaking work that got used in later films, and a lot of it beaten to absolute death. You wouldn't believe how many people actually kind of walked around kind of 24/7 cosplaying the Matrix and got called devil worshippers over it because they were wearing black or very dark colors. That was a thing too. It was part of the goth subculture, but I think it kind of it takes a little nod to equilibrium. If you haven't seen that movie, that's really worth it. I kind of initially wrote that one off, but wow, it's worth it. Okay. I should have just. I meant to actually move the cursor off of that one. Leather or vinyl. Or vinyl. The first ever film. I don't know about that. I don't. Might have been, but I couldn't tell you yes or no. I don't know. I think the Wachowskis had been doing some other things before, but I know there's controversy around the Matrix as to who owns it. There's the Wachowskis. There's what's her name? Sylvia something or other. I cannot. Sylvia Stewart, I think her name was. I could be mistaken on that. And then there's another guy who claim now. There's a guy who claims he owns it. He wrote the movie Immortals. I think that was his movie, and he claims that Warner Brothers not only stole the Matrix from him, but stole it from him, gave it to the Wachowskis, and then set up Sylvia Stewart as like kind of a distraction. And he gave an entire presentation on Caravan to Midnight about it. And I listened to it, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Brother's a script writer. He knows that stuff. You know what, Stein? Talk to your brother about this. I'd love to clear that one up a little later. If we could. If we can. I don't know that we really will be able to, but there it is. But in any case, guys, it is almost. I went past the 2-hour mark. I think I'm going to call it here because I am late in feeding Bub. I need to feed myself too. I haven't even had breakfast yet. So I got to say this, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all. And if you're even if you're just catching the replay, thank you again. I can't thank you enough. Thanks for having your tea with me this morning. And yes, this was a color change mug. So it's a mug advertising High Five, in which you could see, like, if I were to look at it right now, I couldn't see the logo, but you can see that. And that was a free speech website. Last I heard, it was a hardware issue because it's literally one guy running it, and he owned the server. Something went wrong with the server. It's too expensive for him to fix. So right now we don't have High Fiving again. But I had an absolute blast. Tell you what, let's do this again. So I will set a tentative date right now. How about the 20th? August 20th, we meet back here. And we do it again. Because I'm so down for this again. This is great. This is great. I'll have a little more prep time. I'll be able to kind of screw around with StreamYard a little bit. See what happens. Maybe we'll make it a little better. Maybe we'll actually have some people on with me next time. But yeah, I'd love to do it again. 10 a.m. On the 20th. And I will definitely see you there. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're not in the Basic Experts Gilded server, let me share that with you right now. Here we go. Invite people. I'm going to pop that right into the chat here because that's where I do talk with a lot of people here about RPGs. You can hear a lot of my takes here as well, especially if you just don't want to be on Twitter. So there we go. There we go. Boom, right there. And that's in the chat. You can click on that link and come on in. Hang with us. Hellset, I know, is there. Stein, I don't know if you're there or not. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap and call it a day. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Just remember, I'm going to close this out like I close out every one of my videos. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up. And as always, my friends, shine on. Take care. Have a great weekend.